Hydroflux, Redefining Your Lifestyle presents the return of the Singapore Parenting Festival. Join our amazing hosts in a series of 8 free webinars that cover fertility and pregnancy concerns, parenting tips for newborns to fussy eaters, living with COVID and vaccinations, and guides from preschool to PSLE. Register now and attend our webinars for your chance to get an exclusive SPF goodie bag while stocks last. The Singapore Parenting Festival is proudly brought to you by MediaCorp and the Asian Parent. Platinum Partner, 100% organic drip chicken essence with cordyceps. Gold Partners, Dumex Dugrow, comprehensive nutrients. Scott's Vitamin C for kids' immunity. Nature One Dairy, your partner in parenthood. PCF Sparkletots, we sparkle lives. And the following silver and other partners.
Hello everyone! Thank you for joining us this evening. Singapore Parenting Festival is proudly presented to you by MediaCorp and the Asian Parent. We have our Platinum Partner, Hydroflux,余仁生, Gold Partner, Dumex, Scott's, PCF Sparkletots, Nature One Dairy, Silver Partner, Ministry of Health Singapore, Baby Dove, Virtus Fertility Centre, Prudential. And our content partners are Centre for Fathering, Mums for Life, Dads for Life, Baby Pass, and Families for Life. Join us as we bring to you exciting contests, informative webinars, and a grand sale. And today we will dive into the topic of first 6 months with baby, what nobody tells you. Now, before we start, just a couple of house rules. Do know that you are automatically muted to ensure that everyone has clear sound coming from me and my fellow speakers. Questions are welcome. Please use the Q&A box. Do not drop your question into our chat box. It will just clog up everything and we won't be able to see your questions, okay? So Q&As will be at the end of the session only through the Q&A tab, okay? If you don't know where to find the Q&A tab, it's at the bottom. Open that up and drop your questions in there. And this webinar is recorded. 6 lucky winners will win a $50 Shopee voucher each, and winners will be announced at the end of webinar. So stay with us until the end, okay? And not only will you find out more about your baby, you will also get a chance to win a goodie bag, okay? We have goodie bags up for grabs. The first 150 attendees to scan this QR code. So if I'm you, bring out your camera right now, scan this QR code, and you will receive an exclusive Singapore Parenting Festival goodie bag, okay? While stock lasts, so do it right now. You can see that we have more than 150 attendees right now. So the first 150 attendees who scan this will get a chance to receive the goodie bag, okay? So before we go on, here's a short clip from Families for Life. Alright, so the 6th edition of I Still Do by Families for Life is now back with exciting programs designed to encourage married couples to reaffirm their commitment to each other. This is a month-long campaign which starts from Valentine's Day to 13 March 2022. We invite soon-to-vet and married couples to celebrate their dedication in nurturing a long-lasting and harmonious marriage. Through a series of online activities, couple can look out for fun ways to strengthen their bonds. So you can rediscover romance and deepen your connections with the 10 Moments of Love digital card game. This is a heart-lighted game and an amazing way to spark fun and engaging conversations with your partner. And that's not all. 6 most interesting entries will walk away with great prizes. Okay, so follow Families for Life Facebook page. All you have to do is go search for the @familiesforlife.sg to learn more and participate in this Facebook contest. Okay, and you get to win attractive prizes. All right, so now let me introduce myself. If you're wondering who is this Michelle, right? So I'm Michelle Horn. I'm the author of The Chill Mom. I'm an entrepreneur and mother of 3. My children are now 6, 8, and 10 years old, and it is my pleasure to be your host tonight. And now I'd like to introduce the list of esteemed speakers that we have lined up for you. And the first speaker is Mr. Parscen Loke, who is the head of programs at Center for Fathering. He is also a loving husband, father, grandfather, and also the author of The Modern Day Dad. Joining him is Miss Susan OShea. She is a mother of 2 and the senior manager at Unilever, specializing in skincare science for over 30 years, with expertise in clinical research on skin dryness, aging, cellulite, and skin discoloration. And next, we also have Miss Angela Young, the Deputy Director, Professional and Education Development at PAP Community Foundation. And Angela has over 10 years of experience in the education sector, planning and overseeing the development and implementation of the school curriculum. And she works with her team of specialists to lead curriculum change, pedagogical, that's a hard word for me even, direction, and ensures that curriculum meets children's development needs. And last but not least, we also have TCM expert, physician Eric Tan from余仁生Singapore. He will join us in the panel to take your questions on any concerns that you may have on TCM perspective for taking care of your baby in the first 6 months. So if you have any questions, do start dropping them into the Q&A chat, and we will do our best to answer all your questions. Now, before we dive in, here's a quick poll. Let us know how old is your baby. So perhaps, you're still baking. That's great. And your baby isn't even here yet, and you're here learning more about your baby. Or perhaps your baby is between 1 to 3 months old. Just click in the poll, okay? Do not type it in the chat. Click it on the poll so that we can gather all your answers in one place. Is it between 3 to 6 months? Click on the 3rd button right there. Or is your baby more than 6 months old? So I know Parscen is a grandfather. And Parscen, how old are your grandkids?
I have 2. One who is just over a year old, and the second one is on its way.
On its way. Congratulations. So 2 more. One more family members who still baking. Amazing. I love that over 62% of you are pregnant and 1 on the way, just like Parscen, and you're already here learning about your baby, so that's awesome. Okay, and the rest of you are in between. The rest are 1 to 3 months, 3 to 6 months. They're all equally spread out. All right, so and thinking about my kids are all pretty old now, and I still remember the first 6 months as a mom. I remember it came to me as a huge shock, and even though I had like 9 months to process, I felt like I'm supposed to know how to be a mother, like how to handle a baby, but the truth was I had no idea, and I'm almost ashamed to admit it that that I don't know what to do in the first 6 months of of my baby's life. And I suppose dads, who are the dads here, right? Do you feel as clueless as well? Right? Can you resonate as like, I want to help, I don't know what to do? And so to help me with this topic, I'm gonna hand over the microphone to Parscen, who will take you through fatherhood and what it means, especially during your baby's first 6 months. All right? So over to you, Parscen.
Thank you very much, Michelle, and good evening to everyone, especially to you dads. I'm speaking to you. And I think the crowd here is excellent because most of you, at least 62% of you, are expecting a child, presumably your first child. Well, I want to speak to dads, and I want to say, first of all, congratulations on becoming a dad, and also welcoming you to fatherhood, which is the most important job in the world. Now, those are not my words. Those are the words of this author, Louis Yablonsky, who wrote the book Fathers and Sons. He says the most important role a man can play in his lifetime is that of becoming a father, because fatherhood is a man's link with the future. I wish someone had told me this some 30 years ago when I first became a father. So the birth of your child is not only the birth of your child, it's also the birth of a father. Now, it seems from science that nature or biology is giving us a helping hand in terms of the hormones and the chemicals in our bodies. For example, in terms of testosterone, fatherhood lowers testosterone levels in men, therefore making him more prepared to be nurturing and empathetic and so on. Another chemical that is also changing in a man's body when the child is born is prolactin. Now, prolactin is known to be the hormone that helps women produce breast milk, but in fathers, it does something very different. It makes the fathers more responsive and more sensitive to the cries of their babies. So that's, as I said earlier, biology and nature has given us a helping hand. All right. So we are not at a disadvantage and we are good to go. In a survey among expecting fathers from KKH, this is what we found when we asked them about paternity leave, whether you'll be taking the full paternity leave after the birth of your child. Only 48% said all, but in installments, only about 50% said all at once. And here are some of the reasons they've given. Well, the obvious ones is that after 2 weeks, my work will pile up. And others also said that, well, it might jeopardize my career. But look at the third reason. The third reason, father says, is I will not be very useful at home. And I think we understand why, because, fathers feel that, women are by nature, the primary caregivers of children, and they are the experts. Particularly if you have your wife at home, maybe a confinement maid or a nanny, or even a mother-in-law. So you have a number of women at home. Where do I stand? Well, I want to address this in a minute, but first, let me tell you how important paternity leave is. All right. Now, paternity leave is now 2 weeks and it's paid fully. During my time, do you know how long paternity leave was? Just 2 days. So you guys have it good. Please make full use of it. Paternity leave is for you to kickstart your fathering experience and journey on the right foot. All right. And so paternity leave is best time for you to bond with your child through the physical contact that you have with your child, through activities such as changing diapers and bathing and caring and cooing and cuddling and things like that. So the father-infant bond, begins to strengthen as the father gets to know your infant, okay? Now, fathers also express feelings of joy and closeness during these times. For example, a father said, I feel closer to my baby because of these experiences such as bathing and feeding and diaper changing. So it's true. These are the times that I actually felt bonding with my child. I was on bathing duty every day before I left the home to go to work. Paternity leave is also a time where you distribute the work between you and your wife so that, your wife will, in a sense, be able to have some relief and some rest. And it will also reduce the risk of women, your wife, experiencing postpartum depression. Okay? Now, going back to that reason earlier, where many fathers said, I don't feel useful at home. Well, that's again because of this notion that women are by nature the experts or specialists in childcare. Well, science have actually proven that not to be so. This thing called maternal instinct, is it a myth or is it a fact? Well, Dr. Catherine Monk, take note, she's a woman, and she has found that the idea of a maternal instinct can be quite exaggerated. It is largely a myth. Psychotherapist Dana Dorfman also says that many aspects of caring for a child are learned through observation or on-the-job experiences. All right? So no one is born with natural abilities to bottle feed the child, to change diapers, to bathe the child, and things like that. These are all learned either through attending some courses, watching other people doing it, and of course, doing it yourself. All right. So in that sense, both mothers and fathers have an equal chance and equal opportunity of picking up these skills and doing well in them. It comes with practice. All right. So practice, practice, practice. And the only thing I would like to say to mothers here is give your husbands the chance. All right. Because husbands might not do it anything, many of the things the way you would do it. And therefore you might want to, take it back and say, well, let me handle it. Try not to do that. Rather, encourage him to do more. And when he does it, give him positive appraisal in order to encourage him again to do more. All right. Another study found that men and women are equally skilled at identifying their infant's cries. Okay. So when a baby is crying in the room, for example, and both mommy and daddy are in the living room, sitting on the sofa and trying to catch a wink, the baby cries, guess who gets off the sofa first? Usually it's the mothers. Now, not because the fathers are laid back. What studies have found is that just fathers' response time is a fraction of a second slower than mothers. So that's all right? So mothers, slow down and let your husbands do it. I want to share another study with you, which I find it very interesting. And this has to do with brain scans of two groups of men. The first group of men are entrepreneurs who are business owners. They have their own startup. And the second group of men are fathers. So this team of researchers took a brain scan, real-time brain scan of these two groups of men while they were looking at photos. The entrepreneurs were looking at photos of their own companies, their signboards, their office, and things like that, while the fathers were shown photos of their children, their families, their homes. And what the researchers wanted to see was which part of their brains lit up, meaning there is some brain activity. And guess what? For both these groups of men, the same parts of the brain began to light up. And these parts of the brain indicate devotion and commitment, all right, and love. At the same time, questionnaires were given to these two groups of men, and from the responses to the questions, researchers also found that there is a high level of confidence in both entrepreneurs and fathers. Now, confidence is good, right? But overconfidence might not be that good. So one of the things that the researchers warn fathers is that do not be too confident that you're able to do all that. Fatherhood can't be that difficult, can it? Well, not really, but because you are always a new dad, therefore you will never stop learning. And I hope you don't. And one of the things about as you have heard, 90% of new startups fail. the first time, and then they'll keep failing again and again. And one possible reason is because they tried to do it alone. So maybe it's good to ask for advice. Maybe it's good to be mentored, so that you will not have to learn everything from scratch and repeat the mistakes that others have made. Likewise, for fathering, there is a community of fathers at Center for Fathering that you can learn from. There are workshops, there is coaching that you can benefit from, so that you do not have to do it alone, but you can always know ahead what to expect and be prepared for it. Stay ahead of the curve instead of lagging behind and trying to play catch up. So be sure to visit our website, fathers.com.sg, and make full use of all the resources there. I am the trainer, and you can always look me up at Center for Fathering. Once again, have a good evening and enjoy your fatherhood journey going forward.
Thank you, Parscen. That is so refreshing. I can see in the chat everyone's going, wow, this is so refreshing. I should get my husband to listen to this. And I also see a few moms over here is already boasting about their husband, going, my husband is the one who's get up first. And I love how you say, mothers slow down, because usually we're the first to jump up. So sometimes, we do want to let our husband to at least try, right? And what Parscen said just now, confidence comes from trying, failing, trying again. And just like parenting, right? It's all about learning and growing together with our children. And now I would like to ask Eric instead, right? So Eric, what do you think about, how does the support of a father helps in the emotional well-being and mental health of mothers and babies? Do you have any input from a TCM perspective?
Yes, sure. I agree totally that fathers should share this duty when the baby is born, because mother wants the baby is born, brought into this world. Mothers are faced with a lot of stress on how to take care of babies. Even they have to recover the body, and also for those doing breastfeeding, they need to constantly worry about the supply of milk, and all this is too much overwhelm for them. So it is very good for fathers to share this load and duties as a father with the mother, because we know that all this emotion, stress may lead to the stagnation of qi, which may affect the recovery of the mother's health as well as the production of the milk. So a lot of fathers, you may think that, oh, I'm also very stressed, I can get caught up with all these things. So the fathers here have got a small little tips to share with you. So if you are very stressed and exhausted by doing all these fathering duties, taking care of the children, taking care of your wives, so sometimes you may feel, oh, I don't have this energy. What do? I have a small little herbal formula for you. That is American ginseng. This American ginseng, you can take about, we have the American ginseng slice, about 5 to 10, depending on the thickness of ginseng slice, and put in about 500 milliliters of boiling water, let it simmer a while, and this will keep you awake. And also, if let's say you feel that the body is a bit heaty or cannot take too much heat, you can add in some chrysanthemum to it. Chrysanthemum also helps to relieve the stress. So about 5 to 6 flowers, and just leave it on and drink it. Yes, it will keep you awake. And also, you may say that, oh, I don't have this time for this brewing, all those. There are also powdered form placed in capsules, readily available in a modern TCM establishment. You can get it. You can go and get it and keep yourself alive while serving a duty as a father.
Nice. So thank you, Eric. So ginseng and chrysanthemum to keep the energy level up. Okay. So hear that, father. Okay. Stock up for yourself and for your wives. Okay. And yeah, can I just say that, dads, we just want you to be around. I'm talking from a mom's perspective. Even if you feel like you're not helping, it's just nice for you to be around to see that we are struggling. Okay. And as Parscen say, just help carrying the baby, just have fun with your baby, and that that really makes us feel like we are being supported. All right. And before we move on, I'd like to remind everyone to please drop your question in the Q&A chat and not in the regular chat box, okay? Because we won't be able to find your question. So if you're serious about your question, do drop it in the Q&A chat, all right? And now we want to share with you some key things to take note of when caring for your newborn delicate skin. And to present this topic, we have Susan from Unilever, who is logging in all the way from the United States tonight. So put your hands together and help me welcome Susan. Over to you, Susan.
Thank you so much, and thank you so much for having me. And it is bright and early here. It is evening your time, but it's bright and early here. And Michelle, I can relate to a lot of what you were saying when you first brought home your baby and not knowing how to care for this baby. You have all these visions of what the moments are going to be like. I thought that giving my baby's first bath would be picturesque and something beautiful. And as you can see on the photograph here, the reality was something totally different. I was actually so scared because he was so slippery and I was afraid that I was going to drop him that I didn't even give him his first bath. That was my sister-in-law who had to come and help me out because that was such a scary moment. But the bath time is very much a bonding moment. I think Parscen mentioned that bath time is a nice bonding moment to have with your infant. And what we've realized at Unilever, we did a survey of thousands of women, and there's a lot of pressures to be a perfect mom. Almost 9 in 10 women feel the pressure to be the perfect parent. And they feel that pressure from their peers, from their family members, from social media. And what we have to realize as parents, moms or dads, is that no one way is the right way to care for your infant. What worked yesterday will probably not work tomorrow. So it's just experimentation and having trust and confidence in your own way of doing things. So for baby's infant skincare, it is very, very fragile and very vulnerable to dryness. It's 30% thinner than our skin. It loses moisture up to 5 times faster than ours. And there's 2 times less natural moisturizing factor. And that's what's the ability to hold moisture in. And it's much more susceptible to lipid loss through cleansing. So we have to really be very careful about mild and gentle cleansing. And it doesn't even have to be with a washing product. Washing babies with water alone can be just as suitable for bathing your babies because their skin is so delicate. Now, we're hearing a lot about microbiome these days, and the microbiome is the skin's living protective layer. And when that microbiome balance goes out of balance, that's when you can have dry skin because that's an unbalanced microbiome, and that's very vulnerable to irritations, flare-ups, and itching. So it's keeping your baby's skin moisturized would have a better balanced microbiome. And then what's also very important is having a 2-step regimen. Oh, somebody advanced my slide on me. A 2-step regimen for caring for your baby's skin. It could be cleansing and then followed up with moisturization. There's been studies that show that having this 2-step regimen could prevent problem skin in the future. There's no guarantees, but you can at least help your baby's skin right from the start. And that's it for today. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Susan. And I love how you keep it simple, just cleansing, moisturizing, like Eve just said. Got it, simple. And I wish I knew, because sometimes, you know, as first-time parent, we're clueless and we thought, hey, they can just use our normal, regular body wash that adults use that could be too harsh for them. And there's this microbiome, and I certainly did not know that when I was a mom. So Thank goodness all more than 500 of you know this information by now. And now I want to ask Eric, so right now, good news for all of you, you can also redeem a sensitive skin moisture lotion by just scanning this QR code right now. Okay, so all you have to do is just scan your QR code, bring out your phone, scan it, add to cart, and add your card under shop voucher. Just add in this code right now, UNILVODOVEL. Okay, UNILDOVEL, and you can just redeem it. For those of you who can't scan, sometimes our phone just can't scan, the QR code's not reading, you can also go over to the chat. There's a link right there that Noel just dropped. Just click on that and then just use the same code to redeem your own sensitive skin, sensitive moisture lotion for your baby. All right. So right now, I want to again consult Eric on his TCM perspective, right? There are skin issues. I know that we are very concerned for moms about nappy rashes, eczema, etc. It seems to be common amongst babies these days. So why is that so? And is there any food product that baby can take to make sure they have smooth, supple skin since young? Eric?
Yeah, you are correct. This skin problem is very, very common in Singapore. This is because of the weather. We are in a hot and humid country, and these babies, they have a weak skin. Therefore, this humidity can get into the body easily and build up as a phlegm, dampness, and because of the nature of the babies, they are warm in nature. They have a characteristic warm body. So this warm and this dampness comes together and becomes a warm heatiness and dampness, which we call known as 湿热 in Chinese, in traditional Chinese term. So this 湿热 is actually the culprit behind all this redness and those bulging skin issues and eczema and all those, especially along the foldings, skin foldings, and nappy rashes, all this. So it is good, it's important for the baby, the hygiene of the baby to be kept high and maintained, and also keep the baby not too warm, because a lot of parents also, they tend to wrap up babies thinking that, oh, they're so cold, But actually we have to observe, see that expression, how they communicate to you on this. So when it comes to skincare, for those who has babies, I've seen in the poll that there are some with babies reaching 6 months old. Yes, for this those who are babies who are above 6 months or 6 months old and able to swallow, actually I have a small secret for you. We can actually use 1 teaspoon of bird nest. This is very good for the baby. You can dilute it. If the baby is unable to swallow well, you can even use filter it. Just take the bird nest water, that will do as well. So you can feed it, the baby, you can put in the milk and feed it about 1 to 2 times a week. That will do. Yes. And remember, because if you buy bird nest, you definitely have to buy from established TCM stores or a modern TCM establishment which is reputable, because sometimes you have a lot of fake bird nests around, which is actually not really bird nests. They can be made from algae, seaweed, and all those things, which we do not know whether it is suitable for the baby. Yes.
Okay. Wow. Okay. Bird's nest for babies. So from how old can they start taking it, Eric?
Yeah, you can take it from generally from 6 months and above, but have to make sure that baby is able to swallow well. If there's a swallowing issue, even if the baby reaches 6 months, don't give it too early.
So make sure that the baby is ready for weaning,
Yes.
and can have baby food already, and you can
Yes.
slowly start introducing at that age.
Yes,
Wow.
and able to dilute it.
Yeah, if only my parents feed me bird's nest in 6 months old, I would have. Okay, so I see that a lot of you have already redeemed your lotion. So right now we have another poll for you. What are your thoughts on picking up a crying baby to comfort them? Remember, do click on the poll that pops up right on your screen right now. Do not put it in the chat, okay? So, would you soothe it? Would you pick it up and soothe your baby, when your baby is crying? Or, you listen to old people who says, don't pick your baby up too much, you might spoil them. Which one? How old? I say between 0 to 6 months old. It seems like, most of your babies is within that age group. So would you pick your baby up, or you don't want to spoil them? Just let us know where are your thoughts right now. And then we'll see what a majority of you is leaning towards, okay? We'll have the answer right away. So just click on what would you do? And then we'll show you. Right, 80% of you would pick up your baby to soothe it. Yes. Yes, I remember being when my kids are baby as well. It's a fine balance, and it's always that nagging. I was like, are we spoiling our baby by picking it up, right? And I don't have the answer, to be honest. I've always given and just pull up my baby. I just cannot stop myself from, letting it cry it out. Okay, so that's a tough one. All right, so let's see what our next speaker, Angela, who will be covering infant reflexes and child development, has to say about this. All right, so take it away, Angela, and let us find out, should we pick up our baby when our baby is crying?
Okay, thank you so much, Michelle. Hello, everyone. Good evening. I'm Angela, and I'm delighted to be here today to share 3 things you need to know about infant reflexes and child development. So I think all of you will agree with me that babies are very adorable. So I know most of our parents over here today, you are still baking your baby, right? Or some of you have recently given birth. So congratulations. I hope you'll find my sharing today helpful in understanding about infant reflexes and eventually inspire you to try out or create different opportunities to integrate your child's reflexes. But I'd just like to add some disclaimer here. The topic about infant reflexes can get very technical and in some cases requires medical advice. So what I will be covering today will be general. And if you have medical related queries, it will be good to consult with your child's pediatrician. Right. So let's start by debunking some myths, shall we? So mummies, daddies, or parents to be, I'm sure you are very proud of your little one whenever they achieve a new milestone, and you should be. However, there are some assumptions that has been around for a very long time. How true are they? So for example, parents get very excited when their child starts walking early, for example, at 7 months or 8 months. Does it mean that their child is developing faster than their peers? Well, the answer is no. And here's why. Because before babies can walk, they need to crawl. And crawling is very important for the development of the brain, spine, and strength in a baby's arms and legs. It also involves several reflexes that helps to develop better balance, coordination, because when you crawl, the left side and your right side of the body needs to work together. Visual perceptual skills, which is the linear movement of their eyes and how they perceive depth, and also build the foundation for problem-solving skills. So not crawling enough could lead to issues like clumsiness, weak eye-hand coordination, and poor attention span. So although you may be raring for your child to walk, don't forget that crawling is very important for their overall development. So don't rush them through the crawling phase. Let them crawl and encourage them too. So earlier on, there was a poll asking you about, your opinion on picking up crying babies. And I do see that 80% of you chose the I pick up my baby to soothe them mode. And you're right. And I'm sure you've been told at some point in time that you shouldn't rush to pick your baby up when they're crying, because by doing so, you spoil them. And I do see another question in the Q&A box that says that, by Yong Xiang, who says by leaving your baby to cry, will it lead to insecure attachment in future or emotional or behavioral problems? So, contrary to popular belief, babies cannot self-soothe themselves. They cannot regulate their emotions yet. So babies need to feel safe and secure. They are born with the bonding reflex that allows them to feel attachment and trust to their mother and their caregiver. So it is perfectly fine, or in fact important, for you to pick them up and provide them with the comfort and assurance, especially when they are crying. So give them a hug or a cuddle. It will help them to build strong, trusting relationships, confidence, and self-esteem in their later years. And we have another one, sometimes when we talk about leaving loud music on, because we can help our baby get used to the environment. But baby, they have this internal alarm that alerts them to dangers. It is called the Moro reflex, which is also known as the startle reflex. And it can create a very hypersensitive reaction in children when they are constantly exposed to loud sounds, bright lights, and sudden movements. Therefore, leaving loud music and lights on constantly does not mean that your baby will get used to any environment. So instead of that, speak to them in a gentle tone, comfort them, assure them, create a pleasant, warm, and nurturing environment for your baby to help them feel safe anywhere. So when you have a new baby, you can't help but you marvel over every little thing that they do. So parents often find some of the little movements their babies make very adorable. So have you noticed the following when you are interacting with your baby? So you touch your baby's palm and he grasps your finger and not let go. That's called the palmar grasp reflex that helps baby to grab a nearby object or to prepare to feed themselves. Or when you stroke the cheek of your baby and he turns towards the side you stroke with his mouth open and sometimes give the cutest little yawn. Yeah, that's the rooting reflex that helps them to find the breast or a bottle to start feeding. Or when you hold your baby upright with his feet on a firm surface and your baby starts to walk. Your baby isn't actually trying to walk, but it mimics the motion that we make with our legs when we walk. It's their stepping reflex that prepares them for crawling and walking in the near future. So these are some of the examples of infant reflexes that your baby is born with that helps them to survive. It is their natural reaction to what they are experiencing, and they play an important role in your baby's growth and development. And this is what brings me to why you should take note of these infant reflexes. These reflexes help us to determine if your baby's brain and their nervous system are functioning properly. So as they grow, these reflexes, which started out as involuntary movements, becomes voluntary. And there are strategies to promote the integration of these reflexes by providing babies with more movement opportunities so that they can build muscle control. These reflexes, while they are beneficial for your baby, may affect their development too if they stay around for longer than they should. And we call this the retained infant reflexes. They may lead to developmental, motor, and behavioral challenges like what I shared earlier about poor balance and coordination skills or short attention span. It may also obstruct the development of higher cognitive and executive functioning skills. This could affect their concentration in class and learning abilities in the future. For example, if the asymmetric tonic neck reflex is retained, it may lead to issues with visual eye tracking, poor handwriting, exceptionally tight grip on a pen, and focusing issues. So you may wonder what causes retained reflexes. It may be things that are beyond our control, such as a traumatic birth experience or a trauma like a bed fall or other birth factors. But there are also things you can do as a parent to help your baby's development. So parents can create more movement opportunities for babies to move and strengthen their muscles. For example, by incorporating tummy time into your baby's daily routine. So tummy time is a simple activity that has many benefits. It is critical in helping your baby to meet their milestones, such as rolling over, sitting, crawling, and more. It also promotes integration of several infant reflexes at the same time. And all you have to do is to place your baby on their tummy. It could be on the play mat or your chest while talking and interacting with them. And to make things interesting for your baby, you could also lie in the same position as your baby so that they can model your behavior, or you can offer toys of different textures for him to explore or to reach out to encourage your baby to lift his head and build his neck and arm muscles, you can also hold up a mobile and get your child to look up. This is also a great way to play with your baby, which allows him to form a strong bond with you. Younger babies may not like tummy time. They might fuss about it, especially if they are new to the experience. So you can try by starting off with shorter tummy times and do it several times a day. So if you have a baby that is under 3 months old, tummy time should be kept within 1 to 3 minutes, but you can do it 2 to 3 times a day. And for older babies, you can extend your tummy time longer. You should also be present during tummy time and ensure that your baby is not left unsupervised for their safety. Make sure that your baby is also well rested and happy before carrying out tummy time. And if you don't have time to do this daily with your baby at home, another way is for you to consider sending your child to infant care. There are benefits to sending your child to school early. For example, our Sparkletots infant educators engage our little ones in various physical development activities that promotes the integration of infant reflexes. These activities are weaved into their daily routine and are also infused with quality interactions that helps them with early language skills and social emotional development. So I would like to encourage parents to take time out and include tummy time in your baby's routine. Vary your activities to make it fun for your baby. So to summarize, today, I covered 3 things you need to know about infant reflexes and child development: what they are, how they impact your child's development, and what you can do to integrate these reflexes. And I hope everyone will find my sharing helpful. So for more information and tips, do check out our website and follow us on Facebook and Instagram at @pcf.sg. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Angela. I love when you describe, baby reflexes and all things like that. It really make me miss that baby time, like you mentioned, and every little, we're like, oh, so cute, right? And for mothers who are going through it right now, you might feel like the days are long, but trust me, it goes by so quickly and you really miss this period. And I love how you share about, not rushing through the milestone and not let them walk right away. And I definitely felt like when you say, she could be hand-eye coordination a bit slow, very clumsy. I'm that person. So I felt like maybe, my mom used to rush me through. When we're baby, our year at least, okay, my year, they like to put us in those baby walker. I think without having time to explore crawling, we went walking straight away. So now I know why. So for parents listening out there, do take the time to let them, every milestone is important. And tummy time, I love tummy time. It's time for bonding with your child as well. And now let's hear it from the TCM perspective again. Hello, Eric. What is your opinion if baby keeps crying? Should we ignore it? And how does it affect baby if a baby cries for a prolonged amount of time?
Actually, I'm very glad, like Angela, I'm very glad with the poll result that no one actually ignores the baby crying, because this is very important for the development of the baby and also for the health. So in traditional Chinese medicine, we believe that the heart of the baby is the soul and conscious of the baby. And when it's young, the heart is not able to take too much of a shock from the surrounding. And also the liver is what we call organ that controls emotion, may not be so good to handle all these emotions in the baby. So the baby will get hurt easily and just start to cry, and it's actually because of the surrounding, what it feels, because of the skin being weak and it's very susceptible to what's happening around. The skin being connected to the lungs in traditional Chinese medicine, these are the external organs. So with these 3 organs weak, they are easily they are very sensitive to what the surrounding and all those. So it is good that we attend to the baby when they're crying, because it's a way of communicating and sounding out to us that they need help. And sometimes if this thing goes on and on, it may also signal a certain health issue with the babies. Yes. So in some modern TCM establishment, there's also some herbal remedy you can get it. But if this situation prolongs and it goes long and on and it's throughout a long period of time and doesn't stop, I think it's good to seek some help, professional help and medical help, because there might be some issues, medical problem with the babies.
Absolutely, yes. And crying is really our baby way of communicating with us. So do not ignore them. Can you imagine you trying to, ask for help? And then no one comes to you, right? So do respond to our baby. And I remember reading once that, baby who are well responded to grow up to become more confident because they trust the world that, the world is good. When I need help, someone responded to me when I was a baby. It builds into your whole subconscious and things like that. So thank you so much, Angela, and thank you so much, Eric. So right now, we do remember this QR code. Remember, if you have not scanned it and if you have not tapped on the link to redeem your goodie bag, please do it right now, okay? And right, so we do have time for Q&A. So for those of you who have been leaving, I still see people leaving question in the chat. Please leave it in the Q&A so then I will direct all the questions to our speakers, all right? So first question is directed for Eric. Can TCM help newborn babies with jaundice? That's a very good question.
Jaundice is very common in newborn babies. So this is because the baby, the liver is not developed fully yet. So they are unable to clear a certain waste product. This is the breakdown of the red blood cell, bilirubin. So that causes the body to show as a yellowish and appear as a jaundice. So in traditional Chinese medicine, we regard this waste as a 湿热, which is also the dampness and the heatiness. So it will show itself. So while baby is not so recommended for them to simply take herbs or anything to relieve this, we have external application to this. We have baby bath for them. So herbs that can get rid of the dampness and heat includes the 金银花, those are honeysuckle flowers, and we also have 茵陈蒿, and you also have 栀子, which is it's a seed, it's an orange seed, is very commonly used to get rid of yellowness in a baby. So this can be used as a form of baby bath. So it's readily available in the market in the established TCM and TCM establishment, modern ones. And if let's say it is sometimes it's not very convenient to shower baby or baby refills all this, you can even use wet towels to just soak it in the water and just wipe. And remember, the hygiene of the baby is also very important. You cannot keep it because the baby is very susceptible to all the skin problems. If you don't take good care of the hygiene, all the other skin issues may arise as well.
Okay, so in short, if you think that TCM can help newborn babies with jaundice, you can always just go to the TCM center near you and ask for all the things that Eric just recommended to us earlier, because I would not remember all this Chinese name. So for those of you who are like me as well, there is a help in the TCM method to help babies with jaundice. All right. So I have a question for Susan here. Someone asked, do I need to apply baby powder or do I need to use baby lotion and oil and things like that on my newborn baby?
Yeah, and these are all personal preferences and depending on what is it that you want to get from the product. So a baby powder would be good for absorption if there's high humidity and you needed something to be absorbing. And a baby oil would be more of a moisture locking type product to put on after bathing. So it all depends on what benefit you're looking for from the product.
Yeah, so I suppose the question could be is it necessary, or maybe you don't even need those things at all?
It's really nothing is necessary to care for your infant's skin, you know, it's really constantly trying to regenerate itself and be in its healthiest state. So sometimes less is more.
All right, okay. And then there's another question that's asked, when do we need to start using shower bath gel? Because
Yeah.
it is mentioned that using water alone could be enough.
Yeah. And again, that's going to be another personal preference of when do you feel ready that you're wanting to put products onto your baby. Like I said earlier before, water cleansing a newborn is perfectly fine. Your baby is not getting that dirty to need harsh cleansing. So it's all a personal preference on when you want to start adding in shower gels and bath products.
All right. Thank you, Susan. This one's for Angela. My newborn stretch and whine in between sleep. Is that a form of reflect?
Yeah, that's just like what I mentioned earlier about the bonding reflex. So they need to be in a safe and secure environment. They need to feel assured that they are in a safe place. So just give them a pet, just give them a hug or a cuddle. It will help them a lot.
Okay. Yep. So cuddle, respond. Okay. How about when can we start tummy time?
We can start tummy time the day that they are brought home from the hospital, actually. But of course, keep the timing to very short. I mean, when they are just newborns, it could be a couple of seconds, so to less than a minute. Or when they are like below 3 months old, we can have them on tummy time for like 1 to 3 minutes maximum. But you can do that like 2 to 3 times a day. And when they are older, it could be another few more minutes. And you can do that several times a day as well.
And usually they hate it because they don't know what to do. And I find that a trick to keep them longer and without whining is give them like the soft toy that Angela mentioned earlier. So it keeps them, they forgot that they're on tummy time, and it's because they just want to reach for the toy. So that's a trick. For older baby though, not newborn. Okay. Okay, there's this question. I saw another question earlier, also for Susan. When I bathe my baby with soapy water in a tub, do I need to rinse off the soapy water from the baby after?
Yes, it would be a good idea to fully rinse the baby because you don't want to leave those surfactants left sitting on the skin. So you should really do thorough rinsing.
Yep. Just like for ourselves, right? We do not want soap on our body, so rinse off thoroughly. For Parscen, hi Parscen, what roles can grandfathers play with newborns? I really want my dad to be a large part of my Bob's life. Oh, I love that question.
Well, I spoke to a grandfather when I was becoming a grandfather to, try to get a sense of what to expect and what my role is. To tell you the truth, I'm still waiting for my JD. But to answer your question, well, grandfathers, this grandfather told me, this is what he said, grandfathers are fathers with no responsibility but all the pleasure. So he sees his role as playing with the child but leaving the disciplining of the child to the parents. Okay, now because this is a place of contention and very often because of the intergenerational, or some call it the generation gap, there might be different perspectives and different opinions about what is the better way or the right way and the wrong way of parenting a child. So it will be something that needs to be talked about very openly between the two generations. And to the younger generation, I would say this, all right, your methods might differ, but I'm sure that you can glean a lot of wisdom from the older generation. So don't throw out the baby with the bath water.
Okay. And this one is for Susan. May I know what causes eczema in baby? And will mothers, I think the diet question will direct that to Eric. So yeah, would you know what causes eczema in baby, Susan?
So I think that's probably a better question for Eric, because there's lots of things that play into having compromised skin. And I'm certainly not a medical professional, but there are things that you can do to help relieve the eczema, using washes with the colloidal oatmeal and lotions with the colloidal oatmeal is highly recommended. to keep that skin moisturized and comforted, because it could be a very uncomfortable situation for babies, to be in that state.
So using the right products would definitely help to relieve the effect or how it feels. Yeah, to
Yeah.
relieve eczema in babies. So Eric, why don't you take this? Will mother's diet during pregnancy affect baby?
If let's say we were to say that if mothers doing breastfeeding, it affects a lot, and because whatever the mothers eat will goes to the mother's milk. So it is good for the mothers to eat light and something healthy, nutritious, and try to avoid food that is like with what in TCM we always say, those with a toxin, the 毒啊, those are raw material, raw you can say raw fish, raw seafood, or those with so-called toxin, barbecue stuff, like the sausages, all those, because all these may generate toxin in the mother's body, which may also in turn affect the milk quality, and it, because the baby's immunity is not that good as the mother's. So whatever maybe the toxin to the mother may be a small thing, small factor, but when it comes to the baby, it matters a lot. Yeah, so it is good for those who are breastfeeding to take light and nutritious, especially those food with high proteins, can be like those chicken essence, or those drip chicken essence. You can even take bird nest. This is also goes through the mother's milk to the baby.
Okay. And so so during pregnancy, it doesn't matter. Only when you're breastfeeding, it matters.
Yes, I would say it's not during pregnancy either, unless if you are not breastfeeding, it doesn't matter. When you are breastfeeding, it matters.
I see. Okay, got it. Very clear, right, everyone? Awesome. So I have another question for Angela. When can we start sending our kids to infant care?
They can start sending their kids to infant care from 2 months old. Yep.
Okay, 2 months old. All right, let's see what other questions do we have? There's a lot of questions, so I sort of have to wait until questions. Okay, activities. Yeah, do we have activities for 3 months old? What's besides tummy time? What else can we do with a 3 months old baby?
Okay, at 3 months old, they will be learning how to grasp things. So you can lay your baby also during or on their tummy, place rattles or shakers near your baby and encourage your baby to grab the rattle. Or alternatively, you can also hold your baby up with his head on your shoulder and walk around the room. Talk to him about the things he will see. For example, this is mommy's room, this is the bed, this is the cupboard. Or you can point to things above the baby so that he or she has opportunities to turn and lift his head in different directions. We can also do some eye tracking activities with toys, or you can also read and sing songs to your baby, or bring your babies outdoor and talk about the things that they can see in their environment. I think the key thing that is going on here is always narrate your actions, because it really helps in your child's language development. Yeah, thank you.
How about a baby who is around 6 months old?
For 6 months old, they are about trying to roll over and crawling and walking already. No, not yet. Walk about 8 months, but they are crawling. So you can actually lay things around in his environment and encourage him to reach out for the things that are around him. Yeah.
Okay, cool. And so that's for you guys. So if you are like, oh, I don't know how to bond with my baby, there's a whole lot of activity that you can do with your baby. And for grandparents, I suppose, right? Grandparents, if you don't know what to do with your babies, you can also do all these bonding times with them as well. So is there any questions left? Let me just see. Yeah, we have a lot of questions, but we want to make sure that we do not answer the same question twice. Okay, and I want to ask Parscen, because he's a the most experienced out of us. So Parscen, as a dad as well. So when I think as a wife, if we want our husband to help, but our husband isn't really, helping voluntarily, what are some of the nicer way we can ask?
Well, I believe that husbands want to help, all right? And I think that what I've said earlier in my presentation is, well, they need a little bit more encouragement. It could be an issue of self-efficacy. That means the confidence level of the guy. Can I do this, all right? Because most guys do not grow up playing with dolls and doll houses and things like that, and they are not asked to babysit maybe, a younger nephew or someone like that. Girls are usually the one roped in to help in things like that. So that itself is the practice. For guys, for boys, they don't grow up doing a lot of these kinds of things. Well, some guys do. So they might lack the practice and they might feel, I'm not sure if I can do this. So they need a lot of encouragement. And when they try, wives, try to lower your standards, all right? At least for a time being, okay? This is not forever, but for the time being, what you both of you, husband and wife, mom and dad, should focus on doing is enjoying the moment, enjoying the little things that little moments you spend with each other and with your newborn. So that's more important than doing things absolutely perfectly and things like that. It just adds more stress to you and unnecessary stress, okay? So I think husbands wants to help, and so like I said, you just need to give them opportunity. Once a week, if you can, have a conversation with each other and answer questions like, what more can I do? What do you like me to do more of and you do less of? So in that way, you make all the expectations, and wishes known rather than keeping it quiet. I always tell couples that the worst kind of expectations are not unrealistic expectations. The worst kind of expectations are the unspoken expectations.
That is true, right? Because you guys can't read our mind. We can't just it's not helping us with that. And I like the first point where you talk about giving them confidence. So pat on the back, thank you, you do such a good job. Very much like what we do with our kids. Such a good job. Reward them and let them know that we see that they're helping us. So thank you so much for your advice, Parscen. Okay, we have another question for Angela. Some babies move with their butts on the floor. Is this okay?
Okay, so when they move with their butts on the floor, we call that scooting. And it's not really encouraged because it might hurt their hip muscles. So what parents can do is to flip them over and encourage them to crawl instead.
Okay, so stop moving and just maybe slowly hold their hands so that they are on all fours?
That's right.
All right. That's a good one. All right, and we have another question for Parscen. Traditional father brings in the bacon, while traditional mom, we're not traditional anymore, but takes care of children's household. Is it a traditional command economy during historical period that may have carried forward effects to the current days? So what is the question? I don't really understand.
I think I understand the question.
Yeah,
It's talking about, what caused this, gendered stereotyping where, fathers are the breadwinners and mothers are the caregivers. Well, from what I understand in not too long ago history, I'm talking about the Industrial Revolution. With the Industrial Revolution, where men have to leave their homes to go to work at a certain place, like the factories, there was also another shift. So before the Industrial Revolution, fathers had a job, okay? Fathers were workers who had a job. But with the onset of the Industrial Revolution, fathers became workers who had children. You see that? So the identity as worker, the role as the worker or the employee, took precedence over their role as fathers. And so there's another question about work-life balance. So understanding this, we can make a conscious effort and decision about how do we want to prioritize our lives and the different things that we're doing in our lives. For men, it's easy to prioritize work over our role as fathers because work is more rewarding. Work can be challenging, and that's what men really like doing, and challenging stuff. Work can also be very good because we get compliments, especially when we do well, and we get a raise, and therefore we are able to better provide for our family. And providing for our family alone is one of the major roles of fatherhood. And so men sees it as killing two birds with one stone. All right. Now, yes, we can always tell ourselves that, but our children still needs their dads.
That's so true. And so I hope that answered your question, Alex Wong. Alex Wong is the one who asked the question. And we have a question for Eric. Is it safe for pregnant mother to drink burdock tea during pregnancy and during confinement? Maybe just let us know what burdock tea is, and then why is it safe to drink?
Burdock tea, it depends on individual, but generally, if you were to say that for pregnancy, the first trimester is the part that we have to be very careful of what we eat. Generally, we don't introduce other tonics or anything. We just take it light, nutritious, and it is only during the second trimester then we start to take in all the herbs, tonics, but it's only a mild form that like cordyceps, all those to help. But if you're saying it really depends on the individual's body, because it not only affect, because let's say if the mother's body is unable to take it, or is it for the babies during, you were saying during pregnancy, during a pregnancy we are not sure whether the mother is able to take it. So it's best to seek advice from the TCM physician to assess the body. If you are going to say taking other things like those food tonics like bird nest and chicken essence, all this is very good. Yes. Okay. If other than that, those are herbs, all this is best to seek advice from traditional Chinese physician. And also, if let's say you're going to say nursing, but if let's say after delivery confinement, the first 1 week, don't take all these other things, that you just allow the body to clear the losha. Yeah, that's the most important. The rest of it, after the 3rd week, it should be fine.
All right. Thank you, Eric. So we have time for one more question. Thank you so much for all your questions. And this one comes from Joanne. Joanne asks, for Angela, my 2-week-old baby cries and screams his lungs out whenever he's being bathed or wiped down. Is there any way to help my baby better accept bathing and being wiped down?
Okay, so at 2 weeks old, your baby is new to the world. He or she is experiencing many things for the first time. So I think what I suggest would be you hold your baby close and create a warm, nurturing environment as much as possible during shower time. You can sing or hum some songs and introduce water to your baby gently. Stroke your child and speak to him or her as you shower. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, that's good point. Or maybe maybe sometimes the baby wipes could be too cold, right? You can just so cold, right? So of course the baby screams. So do take note of water temperature, and yes, providing a lot of nurturing environment. And once baby feels safe, and it will probably scream less and cry less. And sometimes I feel like if it's babies just cry a little bit, and because that's the only way they are communicating with you. So as long as you're there providing the care, don't worry if the baby continue to cry, right? I mean, if it's way too long, of course, seek medical advice. All right. So thank you so much, all of you, for joining us tonight. I hope that you have a lot of takeaway and a lot of tips, and most importantly, take your time out to bond with your baby during the first 6 months of their life. So thank you so much. Singapore Parenting Festival is proudly presented to you by MediaCorp and the Asian Parents, and it's also made possible by these key partners of ours, our platinum partner HydroFlux, 余仁生, Gold Partners, Dumex, Scott's, PCF Sparkletots, Nature One Dairy, Silver Partners, Ministry of Health Singapore, Baby Dove, Virtus Fertility Centre, Prudential, and our content partners, Centre for Fathering, Moms for Life, Dads for Life, Baby Pass, and Families for Life. Good night, everyone, and have a very good rest of the week. Bye-bye. See you all. Thank you. Oh, hang on. Oh, we have winners. Yes, sorry, forgot about this. Didn't see it. Yes, we have congratulations for those of you who stay with us all till the end. You have won yourself a $50 Shopee vouchers each. Do email us if you see your name is over here. Do email us at campaign@tickled.media.com with your name, contact numbers within 3 working days to claim your prize. So congratulations to Ian Lim, Viola Au, Musria Murni, Go Mui Tan, Joey Chan, and Ashwini Mashuria. Well, thank you very much. All right, congratulations. And of course, if you have found this useful, right, you have lots of takeaway, do join us at our next webinar happening next Monday, 28th of February, same time, 7:30 p.m. And we're going to talk about help, my child is a fussy eater. And you're not alone. My children are fussy eaters as well. So I will be there at that webinar and I hope to see you soon. Okay, so yes, where do you find out more? It's just to scan the screen and then you can find out. Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone.